Jen here, and I have a layout for you guys for the 30 Days of Sketches series. This is a series that Christy does every year, and this year she invited Christina and Crystal to join her, as well as some guests along the way. So I was really excited when she asked if I wanted to pick a day to join in. And I picked today, the 28th, because it's my birthday, so I thought it would be really fun to celebrate my birthday by playing along. I love this series so much, and I think Christy is just knocking it out of the park. So is Christina, so is Crystal. I am so in awe of their layouts every day. I feel like they're just getting better and better. It definitely goes to show you that creativity is like a muscle, and the more you exercise it and the more you use it, the better it gets, because they're doing such a fabulous job, and I love it. I super love it. So I was really, really excited when Christy asked if I wanted to join in and have some fun with them. And I definitely did. This layout was a ton of fun to make. The sketch is kind of different and interesting, and definitely not something that is in my normal wheelhouse of design. And so it was really fun to kind of think outside the box a little bit and play around with this whole idea of design, because this is definitely, for me anyways, kind of breaks some of my my self-imposed rules that I have. So you guys know that I always say there are no rules in scrapbooking, but I just noticed for myself, in my comfort zone, I tend to stick to the rule of threes. I tend to stick to those visual triangles. I try to balance things, and this kind of tosses all of that to the wind. There is no threes of anything really in it. There's this really kind of interesting line going on up at the top with all the photos. They kind of start out and it looks like they're going to go straight across the top, and then that last one kind of is falling a little bit. None of the photos seem to be the same size. So it's just kind of this really interesting, playful layout, and it definitely was a challenge for me, because you'll see here as I'm doing this, I automatically kind of gravitate towards lining things up and centering things, and so I have to remind myself as I'm going along to just be a little bit more playful and carefree with my placement of everything. So I started off by doing my mixed media, and I just used some watercolors and the smushing technique and kind of smushed all over the top there, and I did a little touch down at the bottom because I knew I wanted to bring something down to the bottom. Now, instead of doing it off to the one side, I kind of bring mine down to the center, but I knew that I was going to do something down there. And then I mostly used the blue, and I just add a couple different variations of that color if I'm not adding multiple colors on purpose. So you saw me mixing up a couple colors that were more along the teal by adding just a little green and stuff like that, and that just gives a little bit of depth to that mixed media in the background. And of course I knew that most of it was going to get covered up, but that's okay because I just really enjoy the process of creating those backgrounds. So no matter how much of it gets covered up, it's still fun to go ahead and create that. So once my mixed media was dry, I pulled out some papers. I found a paper pad in my Christmas stash from Pebbles. It's called Winter Wonderland, and it's this really interesting mix of fun wintry things like snowflakes, and there's some snowmen and mittens and like cups of cocoa and stuff like that. And then there's also a couple of princess papers. So this blue paper is actually tiaras. And then there's another paper that's like Cinderella's carriage. Kind of an interesting theme going on with this paper. But I really like the colors of it, and they definitely are very kind of wintry for me. And then those pinks and that brighter lime green also kind of make it just feel a little bit fun and festive and whimsical. So I thought that this would be a really good match for my photo. I'm also wearing a snowman sweatshirt in my photo. So I thought, you know what, why not? Let's go for it. I know technically my birthday isn't in the winter, it's in the fall, but I 100% associate my birthday with winter and snow, and there is always snowstorms. Growing up, I had so many birthday parties canceled because of snowstorms, and there's literally a snowstorm happening right now outside my window. It has been snowing for a little over 2 days straight now. We've had a snow day from school. The dance was canceled tonight, which never happens. But yep, the studio closed down because it's so bad. There was supposed to be a info night for my daughter who's going into high school next year, and that was canceled. So yeah, and I think this must be our 5th or 6th maybe huge snowstorm with the snowfall warnings from the Weather Network and that kind of stuff all happening since September. Yeah, we've had a ton of snow since September. So this is perfect, doing a frosty, snowy, chilly layout for a birthday picture. And this picture was taken last year on my birthday. My dad and I always do something together. We go out for dinner together because our birthdays are 3 days apart. And my kids usually pick where we're going to go. I don't know how that happened. Sean always picks where he wants to go. Maybe because he's a chef and so he always has a restaurant in mind for where he wants to go. And his birthday is Boxing Day, so we usually have to make a reservation to get into whatever restaurant he wants to go to. But somehow it's the kids who end up picking where my dad and I go for our birthday dinner. And 9 times out of 10, when you ask my kids where they want to eat, they're going to pick sushi. That is their number one most favorite food. If it's not sushi, it's probably equally likely to be Indian or pho. Or if we are going into town, if my birthday falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, or we decide to eat out on one of those days instead, they might pick Mexican, or they might pick shawarma. Yeah, my kids have very diverse tastes in food, which is amazing, but most of the time it's sushi. So that's what this picture is. We went out for sushi at the local place in our town, which we absolutely love, and one of the ladies took a picture for us, so that was really sweet. So I thought it would be fun to scrapbook last year's birthday today on this year's birthday. So what I did is I cut all of my layers for my paper, and then I was looking at the sketch again, and I realized that it looks like there's some texture in the background. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to represent maybe a stencil, or if there was texture paste or texture on the background of the paper, but I decided to go ahead and put some of that whipped spackle through a little dot stencil that I have and just added a little bit of texture to the background. It kind of adds a little bit of interest, and you can see it's because the whites are 2 different whites, so I think it just adds something a little bit fun to the background. And then in order to kind of create the feeling of having multiple photos, because I only have that one photo, I didn't have 3 like in the sketch, I decided I wanted to create something that kind of held the same weight as a picture. And so I made those 2 little shaker pockets, and those are just made out of little cellophane envelopes, or little clear plastic envelopes that came in a Stampin' Up! Project Life Christmas kit. I can't remember what they call them, but it's the embellishment pack that comes in one of those kits. And so I just filled them up with some sequins. Most of those sequins are from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and so I just went through all of the packs that I have and picked out any that were primarily blues, but there's a little bit of green in there. There's some silver, and then there's those little splashes of pink, and I think those turned out so pretty. And I love the way that those cellophane bags actually create a little bit of a vacuum, and so you saw me kind of squeezing down on them. I was squeezing all of the air out as I was sealing them, and now those sequins kind of stay in place, which is really cool. I have 2 more of those bags, and I think that they will probably end up being little shaker pockets as well. And so in order to mimic the kind of weird line, I guess you could say, of the top cluster of photos from the sketch, I put that big glittery beautiful tag underneath one of those shaker pockets, and I put that one going horizontal, and then the other one I stood up so it's more vertical, and it just kind of creates that weird line, I guess you could say. So none of it, I mean, to me, I'm still looking at it, and I definitely centered my photo, and things are a little bit more lined up, but it gives the illusion that things aren't quite perfect. And then I created my little cluster down below just by using some of those same papers. And I added that washi tape because I felt like I needed something that was a little bit darker and very plain. And that kind of grounds everything, I feel like, and ties everything together. And then for my embellishments, I went really simple. I just added those cute little snowflakes. Those are just cut from a die, and they have the really cute stitching in them. And so I scattered those around, as well as those glittery snowflakes, which are so beautiful. I think they really add kind of a sophistication to the layout. I love that champagne gold. And the tag in those 2 snowflakes come from the same collection, but I'm not certain which collection that is because I've had them in my stash for quite a while. And then for my title, I decided to go for 2 different fonts, again, because it's kind of the unexpected that I feel this layout does really well, and the sketch does really well. So I had those gold thickers just sitting on my desk. I've been using them quite a bit for my fall layouts this year, and I thought that they were a nice touch. They bring a little bit of gold, but they're not super shiny and flashy, so I don't feel like they stand out too much. And then this wood veneer cheer actually came from, I think, Dollarama in a pack of wooden words in the Christmas section, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it's just a word I haven't really used, so I thought I'm going to go ahead and use it. Birthday cheer is going to be my title, and I did paint it in white, but I felt like it was too plain, and so I decided to glitter it with this glitter, which is also kind of that champagne glitter. It's from Recollections. It's not quite the same as the snowflakes on the tag, but I think it works out pretty good, and I kind of like that it gives just that extra pop of glitter to the title. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I basically put the title exactly where it is in the sketch. Yeah, and I love it. I think it turned out really pretty. And so my last touch is going to be some splatter of Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And so I was going to leave it in the gold, thinking I have that birthday in gold, so I might as well have the gold splatter. But they're totally different golds. So what I did is, while it was still wet, I just sprinkled some of that glitter over top of it, and it stuck down really well, and now I have these really pretty little glittery splatters all over. So I love how that turned out. You're also going to see in the still shots that I added some extra mixed media underneath the title, just because I thought it needed to have some more, just like in that sketch, it kind of comes down a little bit further. So you'll see those in all of the still shots. And that's it. That's my layout for today. Thank you so, so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Christy, Khristina, and Crystal, for letting me join you today. I had a ton of fun. All of their links will be down below, so you can go ahead and check out their layouts. I hope you've been watching them all month long. There's tons of inspiration there. Until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.